In this module, we are going to discuss what is a research gap. The word research gap is well heard in the research methodology classes. However, we need a special mention of the word gap because we need to understand what exactly does this term constitute of. Here, while defining the word research gap, we make an assumption that this research topic, is not being studied in elsewhere. So what we make an assumption here that this topic under consideration is not being studied in the previous studies. In order to make this assumption, we need to be certain that these studies have not been conducted. So the literature review forms a major aspect in fulfilling the boundaries of this assumption. If you have done a good literature review, either traditional or systematic, and you have found that this topic under consideration is not studied, then this forms an important gap which you need to fill, what we call as gap filling. So you understand the boundaries of this field of research, and now you are venturing out to fill the research gap. We go to the next slide. There are three types of major research gaps. One is inadequacy or limitation of the previous studies, which have been ignored in the previous research studies. Take, for instance, you have two constructs: stress causes divorce. So previous studies have tried to study this relationship between stress and divorce. Now you are saying that there will be one more variable in between this relationship. So you would say stress, then you would say that extent of coping is related to divorce. So now the limitation of the previous study or inadequacy, you are fulfilling it. So this is the case of the first research gap. Second one, there are unresolved conflicts. Study A says job satisfaction is positively related to job performance. Another study is saying job satisfaction and job performance is having no relationship. So now there are two studies with conflicting findings. So now you are venturing out to conduct a study in a particular context to understand what is the relationship between them. This is an unresolved conflict which you are venturing out to solve it. Third is extension of a topic or raise a new research question which has not been previously considered by the other researchers. Take, for instance, in Industry 4.0 is seen to be implemented in developed countries. So you are extending it, saying that Industry 4.0 in a developing country, the impact on organizational performance could be different. So you are extending the study which was conducted by the previous researchers. Let us take an example. In the example here, you can see here that this is from the research paper Liu and Yang, and the title of the study is Machine Repairing Systems with Standby Switching Failures. They argue that existing works on the machine repairing system with switching failures mainly focuses on specific repair time distribution. That means they want to argue that the previous studies have concentrated on specific repair times. That is, these repair times could be exponential, this repair time could be Weibull, and so on. However, they are arguing that from a practical perspective, if you look at it, the repair time can be arbitrary and it could be a random variable. So from the existing study, there is one way it has been dealt with. From a practical point of view, it's different. So this motivates the researcher to investigate the machine repairing system with a switching failure and a distribution-free repair time. So he is extending the study. The existing study is in this particular domain by virtue of the practical experience. What they have found it, that this is not being explained with the existing literature. So these authors are extending their study into a new domain. So while reading a research paper, we come to an argument sometimes that our research problem is not done by anybody. Then we need to always ask a counter question. Is it so trivial that nobody has done it? Have I searched all the literature? Why do you think the others have not done this? And also as regards to how did this idea came up to me? This is important because whether this process is inductive process or is it a deductive process or an abductive process, we need to understand this so that the research gap could be well understood. While reading research papers, there are some verbs which you may look around more detail. Like there would be in the research paper either introduction or towards the end of the literature review, like not, rarely, and so on. So these are the words, key words to be looking into. And some questions or problem would be like this. A question remains whether ... So this could be the research problem which the author has tried to solve it. Or there could be something like a key problem in dash is so and so. Also something like it is interest to compare the Industry 4.0 implementation in developing and developed country. It is desirable to perform some test calculation as regards to the how Industry 4.0 readiness factors fare in terms of the successful implementation of Industry 4.0. So this signal words or research gap forms a major aspect in our study. So we conclude this module saying that research gap is one of the most important facet in the research. We need to be very judicious in finding the gap and try to mitigate those through our research. This brings an end to this module.